I am a puddle jumper, and the retired meds are exquisite and sexy. I am scowling, that is how hard I am laughing. Bienvenue to CG Woo Woo, you big fuckers. This is the show that showcases the weird, the Fortean, the supernatural, the occultnic, and anything that I decide is cool, and also things that are CG adjacent and Fandom Menace adjacent, and I've been incorporating that more and more into my wild swing jazz drummer shit show. Hang on tight and just trust that the narrator might be insane, but I'm good insane, not bad insane. Alright, let's get one thing straight. I meticulously reference all of my citations, okay? I want to let you in on a little secret. If I don't cite something, if I don't give a reference, which I meticulously have always done, if I roll something off the dome, it's because I got it straight from the Akashic Records. It's because I am a shaman. And if I roll something off the dome, I pull it straight from the Akashic Records, okay? Which I do all the time now because I'm an oracle. And in this edition of CG Woo Woo, we're going to be reviewing the Halo series from Amazon Prime, and we're going to be reviewing Cocaine Bear. And huzzah, we are up to 28 subscribers. I am almost there. I am like 2 subscribers away from 30. And that's the milestone where I'm going to recruit all of you, and we're going to go to that, cult compound or whatever. And then I'm going to teach you how to be, like something better than a bunch of Charlie Manson rejects. We're going to do it right this time. We're going to make sure that we get all those pickies. Zip, zap, gobble, goo. And to tie into the Fortiana of that little joke, I tend to agree with Nick Schreck's research and also just his personal knowledge of, talking to Charles Manson over the years because of the friendship that he had with him. And it's because of all the information that's come out over the years, I tend to agree that the sensationalistic story that Bugliosi gave everyone was just a bunch of bullshit. And what had happened was those murders took place because a drug deal had gone bad. Now, I've seen a lot of ads as of late by this elusive group of sorcerers that I'm trying to track down. But there are people who practice a certain art and a certain wisdom called speech the rapey. Apparently there are words that can rape, and if you are a black magician, you can learn those words. I'm just joking, guys. I already know those words. I tried that on a big old bouncer dude the other night. I was like, "You big fucker's little punch," and he was just he curled up in a fetal position and started crying. So I already know those words. Oh shit, I was kind of careless in just flinging that word out, that rapey word out. Did I hope I didn't rape anyone. Is everyone okay? Hello? Yeah, this time that we live in was the time that the comedy genius of the Jerky Boys was joking about 30 years ago when they called up an attorney's office and was giving him a prank phone call, and it was Johnny Brennan who was talking to the guy, and he was doing his Saul Rosenberg voice, and he was saying, "Yes, well, I sustained an injury, but I was initially hurt by his words." It's like, this is that time where absurdism is just the rule of thumb. And I did a little political satire that I'm really proud of. I published that on my video page, my YouTube channel, the YouTube, and it's Cthulhu wins by a landslide. You know, the Cthulhu for President meme has been in vogue for at least 20 years, you know, long before the present apocalyptic shit show that's going on right now. But I just thought it was a little more apropos to sort of play that out in a slideshow as to what that would look like in this day and age. And so I had a little fun with it. But anyway, and just so you know, I made fun of everybody, but you know, I was respectful about you know, the more conservative people, but and I was also very vague because it wasn't my intention to do this, you know, scathing political review, because, you know, trust me, when I get warmed up, I can get really black-pilled, and, you know, I get so sick of that, you know, I don't do it as much as I could. But anyway, I just thought it was pretty cool. You know, it's about 14-15 minutes. And remember to hit subscribe and smash the like button if you appreciate this content, because I am a lone island in a sea of malignant algorithm, and that's the only way the algorithm knows that I exist. But maybe I don't want the algorithm to know I exist. Maybe I should just lurk here in this abyss of 28 subscribers and just say whatever I want. Well, I'm going to say whatever I want, whether I have 28 subscribers or whether I have 1 million. But hooga booga. Tutti fucking fruity. Ow! So, as I was just saying, a sane and rational person would look at that and say, give me some more suntan oil because I want to rub that pig fucker down. And that is a perfect caveat to my review of the Halo series on Amazon Prime, because, I mean, goddamn. And by goddamn, I mean, it's a good show. I know that a lot of people in the Fandom Menace made fun of the character art that was released for the teasers, because, you know, one of the soldiers was a you know, pink-haired person. And, you know, obviously that's going to open you up to ridicule. And that was your token pink-haired Mary Sue type person. But actually, it's not fair to categorize her as a Mary Sue, because she wasn't. Actually, I take that back. She was not a Mary Sue. She looked like she was going to be a Mary Sue, but she actually got her ass kicked more than anyone else in the series. But I want to say that I really, really enjoy this series so far. I mean, I really like, you know, Master Chief's character, and it's Liev Schreiber's brother, who's the actor. I apologize, I can't remember his first name offhand. But being a tarred visual thinker, because I'm an artist, I totally have his face in my mind. So that guy with all the shapes, you got to see my shapes. Great cast. They did a phenomenal job. They did a terrific, tremendous job. And Orange Man good. Love the Orange Man. And Pablo Schreiber was Master Chief. Great performance. And McKee was portrayed by Charlie Murphy, a female actress from Ireland, and she really stole the show. I was really impressed with her performance as McKee. And you know, usually I don't go for the pixie cut look. Ironically enough, my wife had a pixie cut when I met her, and it worked for her too. But yeah, that look really works for her. My fucking alarm thought it was gonna beat me, but I beat it by 1 second and disarmed it before it made its annoying noise. I said, "Ha ha, you have a vagina." And that was a magical thing to say to it, because after that, it erupted M&Ms endlessly. A bottomless pit of M&Ms. I was familiar with Halo, but I didn't really know the ins and outs of the story and how cool it was until about 13 years ago. My stepson introduced me to it, and, he told me about all the characters and the plot and everything, and I just thought it was brilliant. And what I really appreciate is that the antagonists are like this very, very doctrinaire, very, very militant religious order, and of course cults and things like that have always fascinated me. That's always been in my wheelhouse, and I've written about it in my fiction as well. And so the way that was set up, and how Mackie was a fifth columnist who was like a she's this Stockholm syndrome Manchurian candidate type of person who was abducted as a child by these aliens, and she was found to be a a chosen one, or a light bearer, someone who could handle this piece of technology that can show them where the halo is. And the halo is this device that the humans are trying to get to before the aliens do, because they think that it's going to help them win the war against the aliens. The Covenant is the name of the aliens. But if you know how the video game series plays out, then you know what the Halo does and what the Halo was created to prevent from happening. And so if you don't like spoilers, if you're like really into this series, you don't know anything about the video game, and you don't want to know spoilers, then fast forward a little. But obviously it's going to be staving off the flood, and the whole concept of the flood is fascinating too, because they're sort of like this Shoggoth type virus, or a virus that's kind of like the alien in the It movies, and the John Carpenter's It movies, which of course, if you're a Lovecraftian aficionado, you know that was inspired by At the Mountains of Madness, which was an H.P. Lovecraft story, which talk about the Shoggoths, who are like this biological race of creatures who were created in labs by the star-headed beings, the Elder Things, who were like this prehistoric race of beings who existed before the evolution of humanity, according to the timeline of this story, and its fiction and its universe. And so the Shoggoths were like a slave labor race that these people biologically engineered, and they could basically shapeshift into whatever they needed them to do. And unfortunately, what ended up happening is these Shoggoths ended up evolving, and they ended up revolting against their masters, and either killing them off, or running them off. And of course the Elder Things weren't around, but the Shoggoths were still there when the human expedition discovered them in At the Mountains of Madness. So that's what John Carpenter's The Thing was based on. And in the Halo video game series, the storyline is the Flood is a virus that sort of takes over entire planets and entire star systems and galaxies, and they're controlled by a hive mind. And basically, these hive minds, sort of nest in certain key parts of the galaxy or planets where they infest. And the only way to clean a system of this horrible virus that distorts and mutates all animal life is that to activate the Halo. And the Halo is a terrible weapon, because it basically cleanses an entire galaxy of animal life, and that's the only way to rid to rid a star system once the flood has infested, because you know how ooky and nasty those aliens were in John Carpenter's The Thing, and if you're familiar with the Shoggoths, they're even ookier and nastier, and so that's pretty much what the flood is, and that's what the Covenant is trying to. The Covenant is trying to find the Halo to stop the coming of the flood, and the humans don't know what they're getting into at this point in the storyline, but they think the Halo is a weapon that's going to help them win the war, and that's where they are at this point. Let me tell you something, babe. I give this thing 5 stars out of 5 stars just because of the way that cute little doll-faced Charlie Murphy looks in that pixie cut. Oh, and now this next review, this is real juicy and delicious. It's making me hungry, and I'm not talking about for cocaine. I'm talking about Cocaine Bear. That is a great movie. I give it 5 stars out of 5 stars. It's fucking amazing. It's hilarious. That movie had me and my wife laughing the whole time. And there's even some Fortiana that plays in this, because there's some weird little auguries and coincidences that sort of overlapped with this story, and just, things that I've seen and noticed and mentioned within recent years. And first of all, part of the storyline takes place in St. Louis. One of the characters is played by Ray Liotta, God rest. It was one of his last films, and he plays this. It's based on a true story, actually. He plays this mobster that is expecting a delivery of cocaine from these cartels down in Colombia, and this takes place back in 1986, and the whole thing goes sideways. Now this is actually true what happened, because the plane was going down, and when that happens, they had like a protocol even for when planes go down. Back in the 80s when this shit was like really in the full swing. I mean, I don't know, because I haven't done cocaine since I was in my 20s, and I was never really a part of that culture, just because I know that those people play for keeps, and I do not want my world to overlap with that world. But anyway, they were going down, and this guy who's played by I forget the name of the actor, but he's he was the co-star actually with Kerry Russell in the Americans, and he's a great actor. I really like his stuff. But in the beginning, the plane's going down. He's got his parachute already strapped on, and he's just like taking this duffel bag, and he's throwing these duffel bags full of cocaine out the window of this plane, and they're going down over like this this area in the Appalachian Mountains in Georgia, and that's a place where they normally pick these things up. That's like their protocol if the plane's going down. And so as he's about to jump out, like like the gust of wind knocks him back, and he hits the back of his head on the door frame as he's fallen out, and so it breaks his neck. It kills him, and what was ironic was his reserve parachute, the one on his abdomen, actually opened, but it didn't do him any good because he was dead by the time he landed. And so anyway, these gangsters, and some of them are pretty dim-witted because it's a comedy. It's a very black comedy, but it's hilarious. Are going out to Appalachia, to driving out from St. Louis to Georgia to retrieve this cocaine in this mountain reserve. And unbeknownst to everyone is that a black bear got into the cocaine and loved it and got like addicted to it, and it's like tweaking out and like just attacking people left and right and eating them, being aggressive like he's a brown grizzly or something. And of course black bears, they can climb trees unlike brown grizzlies, and so this thing is just like climbing up trees and fucking eating people, and it's just if you like black humor, it's pretty hilarious. Now, for some of the Fortiana overlaps, now, obviously, one of the storylines takes place in St. Louis. That's my city. And it's one of, and the character that's in St. Louis in the beginning is, one of them is Ray Liotta. And for some reason, my wife just never liked Ray Liotta as an actor, growing up. It's, not anything in particular. I'm sure he was a great guy. I always loved his stuff, but my wife never really liked him. And that's just her personal preference, and so I always tease her whenever we see Ray Liotta in a movie. I was like, "Oh, it's your favorite actor," and and sometimes I really get going when I really want to tease her. I'm like, "Look at those blue eyes! Can't you just get lost in those eyes?" But anyway, so that was like a little ironic overlap. But some of the Fortiana will require me to give you a little bit of a background story, so I'm not going off on a rabbit trail. I'm giving you a background story, and I promise I'm going to circle back. So, growing up, mostly I listened to hard rock and heavy metal, and then when I was, in college, I, started listening to, some of the more 80s alternative that later coalesced into 80s goth, before goth was really a thing. And then I got into the goth scene in the 90s, and then, industrial music and everything. And now I listen to all sorts of music. I'm almost 50 years old. I actually love country music now. And I'll even listen to some rap songs, although most of the ones I like are just the funny ones, and I like them because they're funny, because, rap just isn't my thing. I love R&B. I love the whole, funky music scene that came out of the 80s from Minneapolis. I love Prince, but rap just isn't my thing. But one type of music that I always thought was really, really cringy and was sort of the antithesis of everything I liked was sort of the music that I grew up listening to as a child in grade school, sort of getting ready for the bus, going to school in the morning. I would have to get up really early, and, I was sort of, half dazed and eating some sugar cereal. And my grandma had this, clock radio on the kitchen table that would play like, 24/7, and it was on this AM radio station called KXOK. And KXOK, back in the late 70s, early 80s, they played, what would later be called yacht rock. And it was, pretty much soft rock and easy listening music from the late 70s and early 80s. So, to someone who liked hard rock and heavy metal, especially in the 80s and 90s, that type of music was the very archetype of cringe. But ironically enough, later in life, I find myself the only person alive in my family from that generation, other than, an uncle I have out on the West Coast. And so, all my family now are, my own progeny and my nieces and nephews and everything else. But so, there's a part of me that, wants to reconnect and harken back to those, innocent times, from, a time where, you were where I was happy, and I'm seeing happy as in an innocent way, happy as a child. It was a very innocent time, and being around my grandma and grandpa who raised me, because my mother was going to college at that time, and she was there, but I was with my grandparents most of the time, during the day as a kid growing up. And so, my grandma was the one who made sure I got on the bus and went to school and everything. And so, sometimes I would like to, I've just found in recent years, I want to create an ambiance that sort of harkens back to those times, those innocent times. And so I find myself listening to that cringy music, and I guess it's found its niche. It's called yacht rock now, so I guess I don't have to be totally embarrassed about it. But Yeah, I listen to cringy yacht rock music when I want to get nostalgic. It's not like, fuck yeah, that's my jam. It's just, yeah, I already explained it anyway. I ramble on. But one of the songs in my playlist is On the Wings of Love. And that's one of the songs in Cocaine Bear. Like, that was the first time, other than having to fish it up and add it to my playlist, that was I hadn't heard that song since I was literally in grade school back in the early 1980s. And so for that to just pop up in a popular movie like that, that was an interesting little augury, I thought. So if you want to hear Yacht Rock Gold, you need to find the fucking Cocaine Bear soundtrack. Goodbye, motherfuckers.